am the body of a man defeated. I am the shame of mistakes repeated.
Magnavolt, the final word in auto security. No embarrassing alarm noise, no need to trouble the police. And it won't even run down your battery.
Magnavolt. Lethal response.
Alright. I can stay there. When I was talking about taking the day off, this is not exactly what I had in mind. Feel like fucking dog shit. Absolute dog shit. I took my COVID test, came back in the negative. So, this shit ain't right. This is my fucking thing now. Nothing here ever works. Like I'm trapped here and home's a million miles away. My food's locked inside. I just slept the fucking whole day. I could stand to sleep some more. I decided to be quiet now. Neighbors been fucking blasting music for like the last 2 fucking hours over here. Which is fine, they can do that. It's their right. Fucking 3 different people blasting fucking 3 different genres of music, and I can hear it all, so that's great. Basically, I'm at the point where I'm like directly accusing those I know who are affiliated with the church of sabotaging me. That's what I think is going on. Because I hear there's, no hate like Christian love. And even people who are in the church tell me that, Christians, when they get together, they'll do like really fucked up shit to people, when they think they're like doing God's work and, basically trying to play God and fucking with people. I believe that's true. I was watching Bread of Life's stream earlier. I actually thought it was pretty cool, and I shared it in Discord. That was kind of, refreshing. The Bread of Life over there. Basically, my whole body is fucked. I did drain that thing on my foot. I didn't get anything out of it, so it looks like it was a blood pocket. So that's kind of good, I guess. It's a relief. I was supposed to go soak it in the tub because the door was supposed to be unlocked, but that was earlier, and as I said, I was sleeping, so all my food's locked inside. I had to spend the last remaining few dollars I had getting these pickle bites. Which are delicious, by the way. We got these It's like $2. And they have the spicy ones, the carrot sticks. There's very little brine in the bottom, which is disappointing to me because I like the brine, but it's also very convenient because you can like carry these around and just snack on them wherever, and you're not going to juice everywhere. That's kind of a good thing. So I had to call into work this morning. All right, so tell the story. Yeah, I did what I said I was going to do last night, and I went and I watched a sitcom for a little bit. I guess it's labeled as a sitcom on Tubi, but I think it's a drama series, actually. I don't know why they label it as a comedy. But I did that, and I laid down. I was in bed at 2 in the morning. And then I laid there, and I thought, and I thought, and I thought, and I tossed, and I turned, and I did not get any sleep. And the next thing I know, it's 6 in the morning. And I'm like, fuck, I cannot survive this way. Like, if it continues, I'm fucked. My body hurts. I've had like 4 hours of sleep in the past 48 hours. And I'm working extra overtime. And it's like, it doesn't seem to add up. It doesn't seem to compute. And so I went down this morning and I got myself a drink. Thinking, hey, I gotta have a couple drinks, be able to sleep for a few hours. Well, it didn't exactly work out that way either. Had myself a drink, laid back down. 10 a.m. comes around, and I'm still not able to sleep. And I've got diarrhea to boot. Sorry if it's too much information, but it's the truth, this is what's going on. And so I'm like, okay, I gotta go take a shower, try and sweat a little bit. Mom's on her way out the door to work. I've already called in to work by this point. I called in shortly before that, just like, I'm having flu symptoms. I need to take a COVID test. Like, my body's fucking haggard. I can barely move. My joints are swollen. It's like, it's ridiculous. Like, what is going on? Like, I'm dying, right? And I feel like I am right now. And so I tried to get into that emergency dental clinic because I feel like there's something about having a tooth infection that's kind of, serious and can affect your brain and other parts of your head and face. And I've heard about this before. And so yeah, I took a shower and put my food in the refrigerator and went to try and find an emergency dental clinic, and they're all closing up by 11 a.m. around here for some reason on this lovely Friday. So that was great. So it's like, okay, so I can't, see a dentist either. Okay. And so I come back here, take a 5-hour nap. So I slept for 5 hours, 9 hours now in the last 50. How many hours has it been? Because we're almost on the third day. Okay. That's cool. I got a little bit of pot to tide me over, so that's kind of mellowed things out. But I'm fucking not kosher. I'm not kosher. I had HR call me while I was passed out, left me a voicemail. They wanted to speak to me regarding my absence. Probably because I didn't call it. I was like, I think it's supposed to be 6 hours before a shift, and it was like 5 3/4 or 5 1/4 or something like that I called in. But I was like, dude, I couldn't have called in any earlier, knowing that I was gonna have explosive diarrhea all morning. You know what I mean? Like, you can't predict that shit. And the other thing is, I called them back. They're closed with the voicemail. Was they had like a payroll error on Wednesday, and I worked like a whole bunch of hours on Wednesday, and so like my payroll's supposed to be going out today, which I meant to call in about, but obviously I was out of it. So, but I don't even know if I'm going to be getting paid for those hours on time. So I mean, it'd be fine actually to roll it over to rent day at this point. Like, what fucking difference does it make? I'll tell you, this app's always having all these fucking issues. I've been like wrestling with this in my head because I don't want to sound fucking paranoid. Sometimes I do wonder if people are fucking poisoning me. Like, literally, poisoning me. I remember years ago when I started doing security, one of the first things my best friend told me was not to accept the food when people offer it to you. Like, people are going to offer you food. Do not eat it. I was like, what? This seems off. There's something weird about this. And so I never really paid much attention to that. We were working in different environments, and I was like, well, you're kind of a dick. And he was, kind of a dick to people for the most part, unless you were his friend. Or you got to know him, Very little charity. And I was like, all right. So you're kind of a dick. Maybe you're the exception. Maybe people are giving you bad food. Like, but I was like, oh, okay. But now I'm like, maybe there's something to this. Because I do have a lot of people offering me food. Now that's a very easy way to poison somebody, And then I could be just poisoning myself. Maybe it has nothing to do with the food. But then people can still fuck with you in other ways, It's like, it's really, really fucking weird that the day I'm supposed to move into my new room down across the bridge, all of a sudden my car takes a shit. But now my car's broken down for months. And now all of a sudden, none of these charitable people out here are able to help me get it running. Oh, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Going to be people sabotaging you or just cutting you off when you're getting your fucking legs underneath you. It couldn't be that. And it sounds like paranoia. But when you're involved with people who are involved in the church, they all think they're doing God's work out here, playing God, figure out how to keep a man tied down. Hey, maybe that's something to consider. You know, when I got on YouTube and people were pissed off because I was talking about shit out here in public, and I was like, well, you're talking all kinds of shit about me. You're talking shit about me in the church. You're talking shit about me in the court. You're talking shit about me to our family. What do you care if I fucking spew my fucking end of the story to some strangers out here? You know what I mean? Getting it out here and putting it in the light. Why does that make you uncomfortable? You have no problem doing it everywhere else. But if I get on YouTube and start telling my story, you're going to start to get a little uncomfortable, aren't you? Yeah, because everything is not as it seems. And if I told all the gritty details here, and really shed some light on the situation, people might feel a little differently about things. They might feel differently about me. They might feel differently about the other characters involved in this story. Right. But I don't want to get overly dramatic about it. I don't want to create more drama than there already is. But I have to defend myself. I mean, I have to speak of my truth too. But, there's a lot of people out there who might, think I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say a lot of things. I've got very little energy. A lot of angst and no energy. It kind of feels like everything's moving in reverse. My goal was to go home and straighten up my room and go to work. And I can barely get out the fucking bed. I'm concerned about tomorrow. I'm concerned about why things seem to go so poorly for me. Like, regardless of what I do, doesn't matter if I'm sleeping in my car or a fucking shed or a room that I pay good money for. At least when I'm in my room, I have some sense of fucking comfort, some sense of solace, but every force in the world seems to want to take that away from me. I don't know why I just can't have my fucking room, man. I don't think it's too much to ask. And that's my main concern for my son. He has no privacy. He's a fucking growing boy. He's going to be a teenager. He has no fucking privacy. He has no room of his own. If he's in the fucking public part of it doesn't matter. He's just pushed around from spot to spot like he's a fucking transient. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have his own rooms. It's like, if mom's in the room, fucking go in the living room. Fucking deal with those people. If everybody's in the living room and he's called, they're like, go in the bedroom. And it's like back and forth, and he doesn't have a space of his own. And, at least growing up, I had a space of my own most of the time that I could go to. My son doesn't have that. His mom doesn't provide that for him. And she's like, I don't know, he can't operate on his own. He can't function. I'm like, okay, that's amazing. Because my kid's fucking super smart. And then she's like, he has the intelligence of a 4-year-old. I don't know the fuck he doesn't. He's probably more intelligent than you are, bitch. But, that's beyond the point. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. But, that's how I feel about it. And then, she makes a point to so fucking frustrating. So fucking frustrating. She makes all this fucking money, and she can't give him a fucking room. She refuses to fucking leave the situation she's in. And then she wants to blame me for it. To fucking boot, she's fucking trying to hold me responsible for her living with her fucking parents at 35. I'm responsible for that. Okay, yeah, let's go with that one. Well, then you'd be equally responsible for my like. I don't get that part. That doesn't resonate with me. When we got together, and let's clarify this, you moved in with me and my mom on her credit, right? She had to co-sign for us. Oh my goodness. Because you wanted to get away from your parents. Specifically because you wanted to get away from your parents. And then when that whole shit ended, what'd you do? You ran right back to your parents. Not me. I went elsewhere. I didn't go back to my parents. I rarely ever have gone back to my parents. This has been like a more recent occurrence that I've tried to go back to my parents. And my dad was like, no, dude, you're good. You get out there. You can come over, take a shower, have a meal, get out. And then my mom's like doing the same thing. And now that I've got my own place, she's like, well, why don't you stay here? I'm like, because you kept telling me to get out. This is super uncomfortable for me. This is really fucking weird. I can't pay a lot of money for a room now, and you don't want to help me get there. And you're just like, why don't you stay here? Because you keep telling me to get out. It doesn't make any kind of fucking sense, right? It seems like you're being mind fucked. You're being mind fucked by all these spiritual church people who think that they're fucking in tune with God or something. Do you know the mind of God? Look at me. Look at me, I'm looking at you. Do you know what's really happening here? Because I got no fucking idea. I just know these people are fucking whack. They're fucking whack in the head. It's out of this world. Like, I try to be practical about things. I'm like, what could be the root cause? Well, it could be me. It could be external forces like demons, or it could just be fucking people playing fucking mind games, playing fucking people games, doing what they do. Right? That's fine. I can play games too, you know what I mean? But my life isn't a fucking game. I've been out here fucking playing with it for a long time. They're like, you got busy having kids earlier. I was like, yeah, I did. I learned a lot in the process. I may be over here killing brain cells, but I haven't forgotten everything. I'm out here telling the world I have no fight left in me. And the world keeps trying to challenge me to fight. What else do you expect me to do? What else would you expect of me? Yeah, I have so much time to lay down here and get some rest. When tomorrow comes, I have to start fighting again. Doesn't matter how weak I feel. That doesn't matter. It's not just me calling myself fucking garbage. There's plenty of people out here who would portray me as garbage. I have a lot of people saying a lot of good things about me. I have a lot of people telling me I'm a piece of shit too. You know what I mean? I can't unbe what I am. I didn't make all my own decisions. I made a lot of decisions. I made a lot of fucking shitty, stupid decisions. But I didn't make all my choices with my own volition. There's so much nuance there that I like to discuss, and it's so fucking difficult. It's so fucking difficult to try and get at the heart of the matter with people who actually matter. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really make amends with all the people you've wronged. That's not even possible. And you try to get over that. But now it's like, if people want to tell people things about you, you have no opportunity to explain yourself. It's like, this person is X person. They did this. And they're a piece of shit forever. It's not like hard to fucking, for people who are that fucking concerned to go and search and find out that I have no criminal record. I've got some arrests, but I have no legitimate criminal record. You got that, and then there's the accusations. Why can this man not maintain relationships with his children? Oh yeah, there's accusations. Maybe he's just a good liar. Maybe he is. I can't really speak in depth as much as I'd like to. Oh, I'd love to expose all the fucking secrets, all the lies, all the concerning behaviors of everyone involved. But I save that for the post-mortem autobiography because I think it'll be less embarrassing for everyone. Because I don't want to hurt people. It hurts me too. None of us can take back the past. We can't make it right in the future. Sometimes we just have to move on. God, my eyes are red as the devil's dick. I'm a blue-eyed boy, so it's easy to do. People keep telling me I'm a good person. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what it means to be a good person. Not a good person. I've never been a good person. I'm a trash monkey. I've always been a trash monkey and I'll always be a trash monkey. I'm the devil. Temptation loves me as much as I love it. Problem is, I like to help people and I don't want to play God. That's the problem. If I were more godlike, I'd be trying to control people, trying to make them bend to my will. Before I fell asleep, I was listening to a very interesting stream by Deconverted Man about what an atheist is. I need to finish that stream. But I want to challenge D-Man to debate on something I heard in that stream earlier or something. But not right now, at some later date. I'm feeling better. Because eventually I think I'll probably feel better. And I'm probably not going to die. But right now, it really fucking hurts. Excuse me. Sorry about that. You're too quiet, Kevin. You're too loud. Everything's too loud. We've got this thing going on. So let's promote the Wine, Art, and Music Festival in Nevada, California going on this weekend. Or Art, Wine, and Music Festival, which I think is just great. It's just awesome. It's going to be spectacular. I wish I could be there. Well, I could be there. I could probably be there. But I don't want to spread whatever diseases I have. That's a concern. Maybe I can watch from afar. Basically, the whole right side of my face is completely fucked up. I don't think there's any visible swelling too concerning, but it hurts pretty bad. And I have to be extremely careful when I chew, because there's swelling inside my mouth, and I have broken teeth with jagged edges that make things worse. And it looks like there will be no dental services available for me until Monday, my day off. Monday, amazingly. So I'll just have to wait. Yeah, I wasn't able to find anywhere to get in today. Maybe I could try something first thing in the morning. There might be a Saturday clinic. I don't know. I didn't get that far. And right now it's all I can do to not. Oh, you don't even want to know. Yeah, call the hotline. Yeah, I know. Eventually, I'll probably just lay back down. Can't really go anywhere. My condition. I was supposed to go out and walk the dog earlier, but anyway, I don't want. Fuck. See, now I'm rambling and I'm trying to discern what I should share and what I shouldn't share, because I feel like I should share a lot, but I have an appointment with my therapist on Monday. It's like the more I don't even want to remember. I don't want to remember. And I just want to have a new life. I just want to get away from here. I can't get out. Just fucking stuck to all this shit. Thank you, Tog. Thank you. I'm not trying to run away. I've been trying to be as strong as I can here. I just build a new life. Every force in the world seems to want me out. I mean, it's like they tell me one thing and they show me another. That's a contradiction, because I do that myself. Hold on. Sorry, I'm literally in the dark searching for things, but there's that thing. If you are able to join, I don't know. I just figured I'd put it out there. Yeah, I mean, time, perseverance, and opportunity is kind of all we have sometimes. I guess is where I'm at. And we could chat, off camera, because I'm like, it's gonna be like, one of those. See, fathers and men face this shit all the time. Yeah. And come on.
Hey, yeah, I
Hey
was
buddy, how you doing?
doing good. I was listening to some of the stream. I kind of clicked on it. I was watching then. Ooh, give me a second. Sorry, I just finished some Chinese food. I was watching The Whale with my wife, and she was putting the kids down to sleep, and I saw that you were on. I'm like, oh, what's all this about? So I clicked back and I listened to some of the stuff that you were talking about, and I can relate to what you're saying and all the shit and all that. And yeah, it's tough and it's rough, especially like when you have people in your life that like are supposed to help make it better, but along the ride they kind of just make it worse and more difficult. But you have to keep these kind of people in your life, and I totally get like the whole wanting to run away from like the situation and start over because it seems easier than just sticking with the shit you have. Which kind of makes it think like why my fucking dad ran out when he did his shit when he found out that he was already like a previous marriage, right? Had two kids, and then he was about ready to have another two kids with another woman. So his ass ran. Like he couldn't face that. So that's why I'm saying at least in any like when it sounds like you're facing it, you're owning up to it, which is all that we can do and make the best out of this situation that we have. Right? That's it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's like I've already been through one failed custody case where I have zero connection with my older children, and now it's like my youngest child is with a different person, and we have a pretty good relationship, and it's like now they're trying to cut me out. It's like so facing that and just trying to kind of rebuild from the ground up my whole situation, like,
Yeah.
and I've lost connection with a lot of my family over the years, so pretty much just me and whoever I can, have an opportunity to meet.
Right. Yeah, I get you that. Yeah. My brother just like cut off me and my mother off because he's like, I'm having problems with my own life, and you guys are like the source of it. Even though we never talk or hang out, somehow we're the source of all these problems, and he has to cut us off dry. He's like, you guys are dead to me. And I'm like, all right, be that way. I don't care. I ain't losing
Well,
shit
and
at that point. Yeah, right. Fuck.
I don't know about
Hope
your
it gets
story, but I
better.
have to accept I did make a lot of really, really poor choices when I was younger. I mean, like
Right.
I
Yeah.
own up to that. That I don't disagree with that. Um, but right now I'm trying to make better choices. Like it sometimes feels like you're being punished. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, totally, dude. Yeah, like even you can't catch any fucking win. Like even my wins that I do get shit on. Like for example, right? I just got these new gigs, and um apparently now that I've done this job, I might not see any money because I bumped a corner of a table to a bar lounge and just to chip the wood, like maybe a 2-inch big chip, so maybe by an inch thick. So it's a pretty significant chip on this would, but I'm not gonna get my whole check because of that little tiny fracture of a wood chip. And I'm like, nah, that can't be right, man. That seems fucked, right? And I did the whole good job completely, but one little chip's gonna cost me this whole pay, and I'm still waiting to hear back from them. And I'm like, I have shit like that going on with my like I get fucked with my finances and shit. It seems like that never fucking seems to work out for me. And I like I
Yeah.
try hardest, to get more work and all that, and that never falls in through. I get lucky. Here and there I get lucky through other people, I guess, if I am lucky, but that's about it. Never can really make like any means of for myself. I'm always having to rely on others, which isn't a bad thing, and I'm thankful for that. I'm not complaining. Sucks that I
Yeah,
can't
well,
do anything for
we're
myself in
always
that part, yeah.
relying on others, right? It's like the paradox of, like trying to be like a self-made person or or what's the other?
Yeah.
There's like a term for rugged individual, but we always need other people. There's like no way around that.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom makes it kind of difficult too. Like in that regard with my kids, she tries to put on to they're me and my brother, right? I'm like, no, they're not your kids. Stop that. When she watches my kids, which she tries to, like today, she told them. Sorry, I got hiccups on. She showed them like when I'm watching you, I'm the parent. I make the rules. I'm like, you can't be saying shit like that to them. You're not their parent. You can't. That's line crossing, right? Like you're
Yeah,
their grandmother. When you're watching them, you're their guardian. Like you can't be saying you're that parent. And the rules with that she in place, like she took them to the park, right? And like I guess my little girl was like sticking her hand out the window, which in our car it's not harmless. We let them do it. As I tell them, as far as the mirror, don't go past the mirror, right? Uh, and so, but when my mom's driving, it's her car, her rules, right? She don't want you sticking your hand out the window. She don't want you sticking your hand, and like they got into a big old fit. And I told my mom, like, yeah, that's not the issue. What you That's not the issue of what you did. It's the fact that you told them that you were the parent and you made the rules. That's the issue. You can't tell them that, right? Because that's overstepping the line. So like, you're not a parent in that regard, and that's not equal standing ground. So right, because that's the level. I think that that's a level of trust that like you have your own authority by being grandma. You don't need to take the parent's authority, right? And that's where I'm having trouble with her seeing that, and I think that's where my brother was talking about the whole toxicity from my mom's end or whatever. But
yeah. They have
that's
to
what it
find a
is.
different way to frame the etiquette there. Like,
Right.
see, so I have this issue because I'm, in a separation, so where it's like I'm the parent too, but the other parent's like, well, I make the rules, and I'm like, no, you don't get to do that. We're supposed to be discussing these things.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, and so now dealing with the courts is ridiculous, right? It's straight up ridiculous. There's just and so yeah, I'm glad that you haven't had to deal with that. It sounds like you haven't had to deal with that at least. So
The court systems now. Yeah, I went through courts as a kid through like CCD, or not CCD. I always get Child Protective Services. I always forget CPS, whatever it's called. I forget. Department.
oh,
That was
you
like
you you were
yeah, because my mom
oh
used to
wow,
beat the shit out of me, and everyone took notice of it because I used to do like welts and shit, and then we'd have to
yeah.
play it off like, "Don't tell her," blah blah blah.
I'm
And then we
sorry.
told the person, like I remember we told the show like you could tell us whatever you want, like it's still not gonna do it, right? And it didn't matter to us because again, it was mom at that point. It still is. I think that's some of the reasons why my mom again goes into my brother not being able to heal or forgive mom for fucked up things. But then the same times, like again, as parents, as we're trying to do what's best, she was doing the same thing. It was all just her, right? So in the same aspect, like yeah, like she didn't know better than what anyone else could have done. Like in that situation, she did what she did. And are we still alive from it? Can we learn from it? Yeah. And that's ultimately like how I see like my position as like a father right now. It's like, well, fuck. Am I not doing all that I can and will be doing, right? What am I missing out at? Where am I slacking? You know, where in my life am I like not doing the right thing? And that's where I find the hard part. Like where is my social life or like personal life supposed to stop all for my children or all that stuff too? How does that get mixed up in there? Like I don't know if you know what I mean by that. Like trying
Well,
to
yeah,
touch
yeah.
for me I mean I'm trying to I don't know the phrase for it. It's like when you're working and your kid has like an event. Are you working or are you going to go to the event? Are you missing thing? You choosing one or the over? Are you going to be making there for all the important things to see the things for your kid? Or are you just be the dad that was never there? And that one eats at me a lot, right? That the whole fact that I'm not there is because I'm busting the hump so you can go do the thing that you do and everything else. That one fucks with me a lot. The whole absence of being a father. Because again, I didn't have a dad, so it's like, what the fuck is that like? I don't even know. I can't compare it to my kids. So That's a hard one, right? For me.
Yeah, and it's all a balance. Like,
Yeah.
life is like just finding a balance, and it's never 100% about this one thing, right? Like, so you can't expect a lifestyle in which you're going to devote 100% of your attention to your kids, right? Like, that's really not reasonable. And it's like people who claim to do that, I think, are probably full of it, because you
Right.
can't do that, and so, like, and I think what you're saying about like not attending the events and things like that, like, again, if you're able to kind of make these decisions, whereas people who are entangled in the court system, it's like, oh, I have no say in this. Like, I've asked to be invited to these events. I'm working and I'm paying my dues, but
Oh,
especially for fathers, like, you just kind of get cut out of the deal. It's like,
there's
no, you
gotta
can
be
just give
some
us
legal
money and go away.
there's gotta be some legal loophole around that where you can go see the team and in support of community and not necessarily be there for the whole dot. There's gotta be some type of legal loophole that's gotta be there. I don't know. That's just my way of getting around things. Because you would
Yeah, I
think
guess
that
you
there would
show up.
be,
Yeah,
right? Like if you just it's a public event, how can they stop you from going to a public event? Right? You're free to go as any person. They can't necessarily stop you unless like there's some type of like court order, restraining order between you and the child, But I don't know how that's like because I've never been like necessarily in that situation, like with my kids, but like with my mom, maybe yeah, for a minute there.
So did your mom? So after the CPS thing, did your mom try to come back and into your life immediately, or was there like a
Oh
process
yeah,
with that?
she was very much like she couldn't lose us, She was like, I love my children. Didn't want them taking us away because she didn't want us. She didn't like God. If I'm this bad, who's gonna be? She's gonna be just as worse, right?
Yeah,
No. So she's like, she was her fear. She's like, well, they're better off with me, and we pretty much did the same thing because me and my brother at the time we didn't want to be separated either, right? So we're like, nah, fuck it. Rather deal with mom. We only have a few years left of school. And let's stick to it. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
I always remember, my dad tried to get me to come with him when I was getting older, and we tried, but we just couldn't get along. But later on in life, when I asked him, like, why didn't you just take me when I was young? Because he had the financial ability to shaft my mom in court. He said, well, I thought your mom was, a good mother, and I didn't want to separate you from her, and I wanted it to be your choice. I was like, okay, but then I got all this other influence, of my mom telling me what a piece of shit my dad was, and all of that. So it was like, okay, so I grow up believing that, then why would I want to, hang out with
Yeah,
this guy? It's like,
it's kind of hard to deal with that with my father and all that shit too. In the same because I met him when I was 20. I'm actually the one who found him, right? Out of anyone, because I told everyone I'm gonna fucking do it. Mark, God be damned, right? And this was like I was an atheist saying that shit. I'm gonna find the motherfucker, and sure enough, I did, right? And yeah, it's like okay, you're my dad, but that's about it. Like you're just a man who I know who you are now, right? Like now you know who your kids are, and that's as far as it's been. Like he calls me every now and then. It's weird. I feel like I feel like I have to play the part of son when he calls, and I talk to him. It's very odd because like it's like talking to yourself in a sense. Except
yeah,
he's like more Mexican, so he sounds like this. So it's like really funny. So it's like a Mexican deeper version of me. So it's like it's so weird because we have like the same fucking type of humor and shit. So it's that always fucks with my head. Like damn, like I'm kind of like my dad, right? And I did who the fuck knew? So I imagine if I'm like my dad, my brother is most likely like him, and I can imagine this that he goes through and may actually like have problems with. And I wish he'd talk to me more so I could help him through that. But again, he doesn't want to. But I only think I have a handle on things, but I could be completely wrong for all that, for all I know, to be honest.
I find that funny because um, with my ex, that's one of her major complaints with me is she'll say, "You're just like your dad," and all the ways I describe my father. But at the same time, she finds him preferable to me. So he's allowed to come over and visit at the house, but I'm not. But I'm like, but you accused me of being like him in the sense that I'm a shitty father. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any kind of sense.
Yeah, right. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's weird, like the way things pan out like that. Because now, my dad is, all of his kids are out of the house, so he gets to just be full time grandpa. And I'm like, okay, he gets to kind of ride the lightning there, or whatever. Um, but he was always just kind of financially responsible and never emotionally available. And that still concerns me. I'm always like, well, what are we really worried about here? Like, is it just all about providing for your child monetarily? Is that all we're worried about? Because I just don't see it. It didn't do it for me. Like, I've never had a deep, meaningful relationship with my father, and that was always an issue. And it's like, okay, because his view of it is, well, I paid for everything, that was asked for. What else do you want from me? Oh, and hello, pop culture curator. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming. We're having I don't know, some kind of we're talking about familial relations, and you're welcome to join if you like.
Yeah, that's an
Does
odd one.
does that feel like something that resonates with you, Tog? Like,
Maybe as your father, like in that regard, like I can get it. Like I love my boy dearly, but also like yeah, I wouldn't want him to get too close because even he gets too kissy and huggy and all that, and I'm like, nah, stop that shit. Like he's at a certain age now because puberty's starting to hit, right? I don't need
yeah,
my kid like coming up to me, giving me a kiss, and he has like a fucking Woody or something because he doesn't know personal boundaries and shit. So I fear that shit, right? I don't want to deal with those awkward situations of fatherhood that I know that are coming eventually. And I'm like, God damn. So I'm trying to
no,
teach
no,
him like, to get all like slow your roll with the hugs and shit, dude. It's like I don't like you got to stop that because he's a very affectionate kid. It's not his fault, right? Plus he has the autism, so that's another thing he has to be challenged with, and all that.
no. I get that. Like, like vulgar displays of affection, but I mean, like in my situation, like it wasn't an issue of that. We had like I get the big hugs and kisses, but it felt fake. It felt staged. And then anytime you'd try to have like a deeper conversation about like our relationship or something, that's where it would get muddy. That's where it would be like,
Would he like shut you down, turn you away, or something like that? I think I do that to my boy. That's why I'm saying that. Like sometimes he'll come up to me
yeah.
with an
I
interest.
mean,
And it's like it's his kid. It's his kid's interest, and I'm just like, I don't want to hear about you and your favorite video game, kid. But I get it. That's his shit, right? And I really should be like, yeah, bud. Oh, that's interesting. I should at least try to make the effort to make it like I'm paying attention.
what
So I
I always
recognize
hear,
that. I try to do that
what
shit.
I would always hear from my parents is, "You don't know how bad I had it." You know what I mean? They'd always try to compare themselves to their own parents. Like, okay, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't need to hear that shit. I understand you're trying to be a better parent than your parent was. Like, I get that part already. But, part of that is actually listening to the concerns of your child, not just being like, you know what I had to deal with? And taking that route, which is how it always kind of turned out when I try to have those conversations. You know,
Right? Yeah,
it's
I
like,
get that.
and so I never try to do that to my kids. Like, look at your grandparents and how shitty they are, because they're much better as grandparents than they were as parents for sure. But I'm not going to try and point out all those flaws to my kids. I'd rather discuss them with the people who are here. I guess I still have that connection, whereas like my grandparents are passed away and I had a better relationship with them. But I would hear that from my parents where they were constantly talking crap about their parents. And, so I can do that here and it's kind of healthier. but I don't express that to my children. I don't feel like that's productive, and I feel like that's the way it was handed down
Yeah.
to me.
I guess I
Sorry about
think
that.
you're good. I think that's the case for most families. I think that seems like that for my mom and I don't know about my wife and her side, but that seems like the case for my mom did that. It's quite funny in how bad she had it. She's just trying to do her best, blah blah blah.
No, I
Which again,
heard.
I don't fault her for anything because again, it is what it is. There's the whole thing of like I was talking to DT today, and he's like like people have to learn to forgive their parents for their bullshit, right? Because again, there's no fucking rule book for adult like being a parent and what your kid's gonna be like and how they're gonna turn out, right? It's not black and white. It never really is. It's not the same for my boy. It's not the same for my girl. Different type of parenting, right? It's like the different kids, different things work. Some boy, you gotta be a little bit more boisterous. Girl, it's just pretty easy. Be honest, unless she's getting into one of her emotional crying things and she's in her feelings, then it's a little bit hard because she gets stubborn in her feelings. Different. Like the girl is more of a how do you call it? Like a kick ass. She'll push the lines and shit. It's quite funny. Silly head, yeah. My boy's more like a clumsy oaf, soft head.
I want to say sorry to pop culture curator there, as your family is gone. Um, you know, families sometimes go away. That's part of what we were talking about. The families dwindling, but yeah, as far as my experience raising my children, which got kind of cut off, but I definitely had a very different experience with my girls than my boys, but I tried to raise them equally. Like I tried to maintain the
Yeah.
same attitudes, but I just adjust to whatever they're going through. I see it that way, like because my youngest is a boy and he has autism, and
Oh,
so dealing with that is like completely different than what I was having issues with my oldest when she was younger. Um, and I have three girls and a boy, so
wow.
ranging from so my
Congratulations.
oldest girl is now like she's a teenager and stuff like that. So she's going through this completely different thing.
Right?
Um,
Yeah.
but I'm also kind of cut off from that situation. But I feel like early on, especially when they're developing younger, you kind of tend to treat them the same, and then for me I would adapt to what the situation was, like what was happening. So I didn't take different tacks when my kids were super young. So um, it wasn't until they started developing personalities that I kind of tried to adapt to the way that they were behaving. What's up, Jill? Good to see you. Face purple crying.
He just came back from a debate, I believe, on JG's channel.
Oh, nice, nice. I didn't see a notification for that, but I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it started off with just William Freeman, so William Freeman wasn't too bad, yeah. Debate.
Well, you're welcome to come in if you want to discuss like parenting and family, which we're talking about right now. But the debate thing, maybe we could do another time. I'd like to have William for that if that was the case. So
Yeah,
I wasn't there. I didn't see it.
pretty good, yeah.
I
Yeah,
think this is like,
go ahead.
oh no, just this issue. I've also seen face green smiling, so maybe I'm just not seeing emojis in the side chat. So like, but you see what I see,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Okay.
I see. There's like a purple crying face because I'm looking at the YouTube and like
Okay.
the words. So yeah,
Yeah.
I can see it. Yeah. I just worry if
I
there's gonna be any resentment. Right. My big thing is just, to be honest, just sexual shit. That's what I'm worried about. I don't really care about anything else. Like they can make whatever friends. I don't care if they really join a gang, as long as they fucking keep their shit in their pants to like they're adults. I don't really give a fuck. Because I don't want them to like fucking make sex mistakes, get diseases and all that shit, and then get, and especially my girl, right? Because how that goes, being a hoe and all that. But if she makes that choice when she's an adult, that's fine and dandy. I don't really give a shit, but not as a child. I don't want her to get corrupted. But that's not up to me either, right? So can't control her friend groups and what she gets influenced by at school when I'm not there. So
Yeah, and I always try to be as
I
open
put
as
it away.
possible with the kids about that, like to educate them to be like, okay, you're going to choose your partners later. Like, don't do that now. Now's
If
not the
they want
time.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
I tell mine like if you want that, you might not even want to do that shit. I try not to, because I realize that even doing that, like we're programming it. It's kind of like that grooming shit that they actually have to get married, but they don't. If if it's not brought up as an option, they don't necessarily have to seek it, right? So I try to leave that out of that whole dating thing.
I think, society at large is responsible for that. They do sexualize children, these beauty pageants, even clothing commercials. They will go out of their way, and as much as kids
Oh,
want to be adults, we shouldn't dress them the way that adults dress. And yet the trends go that way, and it's like, no.
yeah, yeah. Like even I don't know if you've seen like Into the Spider Verse or whatever it's called. I just saw it with my kids. Again, it's not a bad movie or anything, and I'm not trying to make anything derogatory, but there's a thing on the wall where it says trans kids need protection or something like that in one of the characters' things, and there's an assumption that one that kids and that's vernacular uh even have trans issues or should have trans issues or need protecting, that they're sexualizing of kids in general, where it goes into like teenagers and all that. Like yes, those were, just because that's when sexuality develops doesn't necessarily mean um influences and all that are made there. You know what I'm saying? Like to know whether your attraction, because attraction doesn't necessarily mean I forgot the word I'm looking for. Shit. I forgot it. Fuck. It's similar to attraction, but I can't remember it. Yeah, but it goes like into that. I think when it comes to like kids, hard to say. Because again, there's
Sorry,
that teenager line. Go ahead.
no, finish your statement, please.
No, I was pretty much summed it up. Yeah, it's a blurry line whenever that get in, because I can understand it too.
Well, that's
Same
why
way. So
I was watching Bread of Life stream earlier, and I thought that was great that Rebecca and the guest, I think Amy, differentiated between what trans means as identity versus sexuality, because we're kind of talking about two different things there. But I don't think we should be trying to influence children either way, and I think we should be more gender neutral early on to allow them to explore the concept for themselves, right? But I think our job as parents, as educators, as people who are raising children should be to inform children of all, give them all the most relevant information rather than give them the information that we think they ought to have, right? I think that's a grave mistake to say that we should be the arbiters of what information is important or not. And we should give them all the available information and let them discern for themselves. You know what I mean? Within some reason.
Yeah, whatever they can comprehend. Yeah. Or willing to accept themselves, right? You can tell them something they're like, well, this is stupid. They don't care about it. Well, all right, that's how you feel, right? Can't do anything about that. So, like, people will be people in that regard, you know. So that's one thing I like about kids is, yeah, they can take something, and I don't want. It's like me with religion. I don't know how to. I don't like. I had almost said I don't know how to push that onto my kids, and that would have sounded terrible. But I don't know how to have them get an interest in that to start, other than they know that I'm a Christian and I have like a Bible that I sometimes will like, well, maybe you guys should go read that every once in a while. And if they do, they do. If they don't, I kind of get, what did they get mad at that they didn't read, I guess? No. So yeah, if they want to, sometimes I'll just randomly suggest it, go read it. But it's like a comic book Bible. It's not like the Bible, so it's a little bit more kid friendly. They seem to like do it every now and then. And it's not like a big thing I force on them. So it's like, yeah, it's every now and then I'm like, go read it or something. And if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. You know, it's to me, it's like telling them to go play with a toy. You know, go play video games. If you don't play the video games, am I gonna yell at you for not playing video games? Right? It seems silly.
I want to address, this. So pop culture curator said they are normalizing pedophilia. That's why they are pushing it, and soon it will be legal. I've always had issues with age of consent and what that means, but I think you could take issue with the biblical teachings and what age of consent is and who gets. I think biblically it pushes towards older man, younger woman, right? And that should be normalized, and that is in the Bible. And as a younger person, I've tended to be more attracted to older women, and there was never really a pushback about that. So if a younger man goes for an older woman, then it's not pedophilia. But because I was with women who were of age when I was not, right? But if it goes the other way, then it is pedophilia. I mean, do you see that?
I see what you're saying, but to me, both things are pedophilia. Both things are pedophilia. But yeah, I get what you're saying. There seems to be a lax in the whole ideology of a boy scoring with the school teacher. The boy going through puberty fucking the hot teacher. That's an old school cliche. That's not frowned upon for some reason, but it is this. And it's disgusting as if a female teacher did it with a male teacher. Oh, that's frowned upon. You're right. I get what you're saying.
And only in recent years do we see people actually being charged for these crimes, right?
Every now and then, like, boys go to complain, and then the female teachers go, not complain, brag or something like that, I guess, and then.
Or they post it up on social media. I think that was the way the last one that I remember got caught. She posted it on her Facebook or Instagram or something like that.
But then again, that's only the ones that make good news, to be honest, right? Shit.
What's up, Gorilla's Random Thoughts? Welcome. Yeah, and what makes the news is only a fraction of what's really going on out there. It's a small percentage, like when we count sample sizes.
I just get worried. That's why I say I hope no one ever does shit with my kids or tries to, man. That'd be.
You got guns?
Day. I don't need guns. I'd go with knives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Slice and dice. Yeah, I can see that.
It's personal. Guns are too easy. Actually, it'd be more like a sword, to be honest. Knife and sword. Go for it.
I've been getting really into axes and like.
Tomahawks and shit like that.
Tomahawks, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely with the tomahawks. Yeah. That was one of the mascots for school. They had tomahawks. It was like a railer or something like that. I don't remember if they had tomahawks. They're fun to throw, actually, if you ever get to throw one.
Did you see a film with Kurt Russell called Bone Tomahawk? Have you seen that?
I don't think so. No, I didn't even know it exists.
Oh, it's gruesome. It is crazy. Like, make sure your kids are not going to come and see any part of this film. It's free on Tubi. I'm pretty sure it's still up there. I watched this. It was like re-traumatizing. It was like, oh, I've never seen violence this bad, and that is believable. Like it is off the frickin' chain, man. Like if you're ready to see like an old school, cowboys and Indians, but with a twist. Yeah, Bone
All right.
Tomahawk
You
is a
sold me.
frickin' amazing movie.
I think I'll watch after I finish The Whale. My
The
wife.
Whale, yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching that with Brandon Fraser. That was real nice to know. Have you seen it or no?
Not yet, no.
Okay, never mind. I'll shut the fuck up because I was gonna spoil it.
But he kind of does a 600-pound life thing, right? Like,
I don't know. So far, it's he's the big dude. Yeah,
yeah.
I just started it, like I said, when my wife was like, "Oh, the kids are in bed," and I just popped on. I was like, "What's this all about?" I'm mad at myself. I was gonna get some booze to drink, but I didn't because I'm tired. So I'm like, if I go to get booze, maybe that might be alcoholicism. So maybe I can sit and wait. And I'm trying to do that because I've been drinking a little bit more because I'm trying to moderate myself into it. Yeah, but I don't know if I'm actually gonna go get some again because I usually don't drink all that often. I'm like, do I want to pick it up again or not? I'm like, probably not.
Has this
Even
been
though
an ongoing issue for you? I know it has been for me.
not really. I like when I got my felony, it's because I was like binge drinking all the time, kind of like Wildheart. Except I had like a job, a functional job, so I'd go to work, and then I'd do my job, then I'd come home and drink up until a certain point, either throw up or not, and then get up and then drive to work and do it all over again for like ever. I had just turned 21, and then I got in trouble. I was drinking before I turned 21, obviously, but when I got it legal, yeah.
How
I
old
started
are
drinking
you?
more.
Can I ask that question?
I'm gonna be 32 this year. I thought I was gonna be 33, but I'm gonna be 32 this year. Yeah, I'm
Okay, so
31 right now.
I've only got a couple years on you. I was dealing with much different problems in my 20s. Drinking was the least of my problems in my 20s. Drinking has only become more of a problem in my 30s now. So I'm 34 going on, 50.
Yeah, it
But
was
I've been
a
drinking like a fish since I started my recent job, but it's become an issue where because it's so loose, drinking has become a problem where it's affecting me at work. You know what I mean, and stuff like
all
that.
right.
So
Like
that's
I get that. Yeah, I get sluggish now. These past 2 days, I realized I've been moving like really fucking slow and shit. I'm like, my fuck shit's been off. I'm like, goddamn, I don't like it. Fucking, I've noticed that too. And yeah. Then I get
yeah.
like
Like
the
I
really
feel like it's
irritation.
almost harder to sober up for work because I'm like, what's the point of this job anymore? But I can't find a better one. But that's
Right?
only
Yeah.
because I made all those bad decisions back in my 20s. I don't know.
My 20s were suffering for with my felony because I got in trouble while I was drinking, and we fucked around and did a bunch of breaking and enterings and shit, and just taking shit. It was a good old times. It's a little criminal.
Oh, nice.
It
Yeah.
was. Um.
No, B&E is harsh. That's why, I've always known the law. That's why I was like, no, we're not gonna go to that one. Like, I would go for petty theft or, whatever, larceny, but something
Oh,
that they're not
sure.
gonna send you to prison for. Um,
They got me fucked up because of it was like property damage, and also I guess the amount of the computer that was stolen was over a certain amount. So I stole a really expensive computer to like a golf course, and it was like, fuck. And we did it. It was the sprinkler system. So we did that one just for fun, not for like out of desperation. Again, these were like petty crimes just to do them, like for fun shit, just doing stupid shit just to do it, right? So it's like, because again, I had a steady job and everything, so I was just fucking around, and like what was it? We went in there, we took the things, and it was for the sprinkler systems. That's right. Because it was the computer systems to the sprinklers, so that when the place opened up, it would flood because they didn't have a way to turn off the sprinkler system. So, yeah.
Yep. I've seen those as a security guard. But we just take pictures. We don't do shit about it. So PCC is, I think, talking about the whale here. He plays a 600-pound punching bag for feminists who hate, degrade, and order him around. Is that accurate?
Maybe, I don't know. I just started the movie. I haven't seen. He's a big guy, yeah. So far, it hasn't really advanced anywhere past like his house scene, so I don't really know what's going on yet. I'm more like 5 minutes.
I saw a review and an interview with him a while back when he did the movie, I think, or when it first got released, I should say. You know what I mean? But I'm not up on modern. I'm watching a sitcom from like 2019 right now, so that's where I'm at. I'm trying to catch up.
I don't even watch TV. Like, I'm only watching this movie because I'm too tired to play my video game. And like, yeah, it's like fuck that. Like, yeah, I don't watch TV anymore, and the only reason I have subscription to anything is for the children, because they need the entertainment, I guess, instead of like them playing video games and melting their minds too. They can melt their minds with some visual pictures and audio.
Do you think video games are healthier than film? Like, as far as what we
escapisms, yeah. Because in video games, you get to make the choices that you get to do. Like in open world games, you make the choices that you do, even though the side quests, everything that you do is your decision. And those games are good because again, they're open world. You can do whatever you want in those. And then you can those things are good. They're good and bad because they allow people to exert out their desires in good, positive ways, and then also negative ways. Their negative desires. So it can be both a vice and what's the other? A virtue. In that regard. So it all depends on how one uses the tool of entertainment and what they find entertainment in said video games. Yeah.
It's like a choose your own adventure, and then you get to learn moral lessons along the way, right?
Something like that. Yeah, sure. Depends how serious you take the game, right? Because at the end of the game, at the end of the day, everything that happens in the game is necessarily a work of fiction, so it's not necessarily comportable to reality. Although you can try to make it line up depending on, again, what the game is and what you're doing in said game. Right.
Yeah, I guess it does depend on the objective of the character you're playing. In that regard, it's not like what are these games now? They have, where you can grow an avatar from birth, like basically raise a baby, on some app or something. There's a virtual baby, and then you get to kind of choose how you rear it and learn that way.
Sims is the only thing I can think of. The Sims.
Yeah, it is. It's basically like a Sims type of thing. But they've thought of all of that. So and when you mention it as escapism, I never tend to see cinema as escapism. I mean, I see it as kind of alternate reality or altered reality. Sometimes it can be, well, obviously we have, historical films and documentaries and stuff like that accurately depict history. But do you think people identify more with characters, like as on film, than they do with?
Fuck yeah. Too much to a degree that it's kind of toxic to certain degrees. It all depends um, on the inspiration of the character. Like uh, it goes into kind of like an article that Midnight was reading earlier off air to me and Downing Thomas in my Discord server, and it was about the Spider-Man movie and about how the trans thing and all the speculation from the fictional thing that had protect trans kids that somehow apply to our real life as an algorithm that's made up. Like they're seen into this work of fiction and trying to apply this idea that this belongs in our reality or this is affecting us in some way when it really isn't, and it's making problems that not necessarily aren't there, right? And that's an issue. Is that there's often times when people watch dramas and things like that, like Lifetime TV shows, that whenever you see a character going through a rough time or something like that, traumatic, that emotion that you feel carries over with you into your day-to-day life because you're wondering how they're doing and all that. You start to relate to this fictional thing that which isn't real, and it becomes unhealthy. Like in some regard, right? I can see where atheists like, hey, yo, dude, guess what? This goes the same thing with Christianity in that regard, right? So and it goes into the same thing where, and again, the dangers of it because it goes into this falsehood of the idea of perfection and us pulling from fiction, which isn't necessarily relatable in reality because it is fictional. It's an idea that we should strive to achieve, but ultimately can never be achieved. Right? It's like the idea of this perfect city from
Like
Plato.
most people would say, like art imitates life, but it sounds you're going like the other way around. Like life is imitating art. You believe?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, if art's imitating life, and well, however that goes, that's why I'm saying it's because they're just thoughts and ideas, right? Derived from the real world, they may be for some cases, right? And he goes into the whole thing with religion, like, oh, well, Superman has New York and blah blah blah, and places of royalty and all that. But but things like that, like movies that are even based on a true story, right? They have ethics and groundings are in truth story, but there's a little twist to it. There always is. It's not exactly the same as the true story, but it's based around it, right? There's an agenda there that's being pushed,
well,
and that's
I
what
think it's
makes it
usually
great.
based around one viewpoint versus another, right? Because there's always a second viewpoint. That's why you can't have an objectively based story. You could just say, well, this is one person's perspective and this is another person's perspective of history, right?
Yeah, yeah. The winners will say one thing, the losers will say one thing, but the deaths will still remain the same. Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, as that relates to the Bible, I mean, do you think that there's been information omitted from those texts that maybe skew certain people to certain viewpoints that may be incorrect?
Texts have been omitted. You mean like texts that have been omitted that we already know of?
Yeah, like the Dead Sea Scrolls or something like that. There's things that are left out.
Uh, relation to it? Not necessarily. I mean, there's some stuff in it. Ultimately, it depends on the testing the canonicity of it, right? Just like any story you do. And then that's the hard part is like, well, what's the canon? What is the original canon? How do you know that's the original canon? And where did you get your sources from, right? And citations, please. And I'm all about that, but it's hard to give those. Um, 'cause it all depends on your context. 'Cause then there's going to be little arguments in that to whether people are within the story or even allegorical or real, right? Uh, whether they actually did, like Moses, for instance, right? Then you have that Noah, anyone or anyone else, right? Whether these people actually existed or just allegorical or part of another, as some people like to put it, from the other religions, and they're all just an amalgamation of one put in together. And the Bible's derived from all these other religions, blah blah blah, which is a weird one. But I
Yeah,
guess
or some might
has
say that
merit.
about the character of Jesus himself.
Right, yeah, an amalgamation of everything else. Yeah, it's yeah,
But you remain a Christian.
right, yeah, because it's always it doesn't fit as people try to make it fit the character. It's too many characters to pull from to say, well, all this is all one of the characters, then not the characters, because even the characters among themselves don't even line up and match, right? Because if they're all pulled from one, you would think they all should line up and match to some degree, but they all don't, and they're all different, and that's the kind of the key point. And um, it's hard to say. I think one of the key differences is I think there might be exception to this rule, but I think when it comes to Christ, he's the only one that actually goes to the realm of heaven rather than staying in the underworld. Like the other so-called myth goddess, what goddess got? What was it? I forget the word. Rising and dying gods. There we go. I think that's the motif that it's called. And some of those don't even include the Mesoamerican ones. So that's even more interesting. Yeah.
So in that context, we're talking about the deities as in pagan religion, right?
Right. It's whatever ones. Rising and dying ones that they say that are rising and dying.
Right. They're not immortal. They're not what's the omnipotent, omnipresent, all that good shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just kind of like people, but a little bit better, right? They just have more powers.
Essentially, overseers. That's what God technically turns into his overseer, to be honest. Which why are they overseeing now? And most of them people would say they're overseeing the underworld. Ease. Yeah. Which is
No,
why Christ reigns from heaven, though, because he's king in every. That's why he goes to heaven. All the gods are in submission to him, and that goes into weird doctrine minutia. That's for up for debate. So, but yeah.
well, I respect your belief. I'm still remain skeptical on that, but I don't want to. We veered off whatever we were talking about, which is probably good because it was very emotionally charged, and I feel a bit more grounded. On that though, I'm probably gonna have to hit my stopping point here, I guess, just to go deal with the other things going on around me.
All right.
Lemon
Yeah.
pie,
That sounds
hello.
good. All
Late
right,
to the
man.
conversation, but appreciate you coming.
Take care.
Do you
Oh,
do you have
go ahead.
anything upcoming, Todd? I need to run some
You mean
morning
like live
streams.
streams?
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I can. I probably won't be doing one tomorrow because I gotta work early. But I might do one later on in the evening. But it really all depends when I have the time and when I feel like one. If I ever have things to talk about, to be honest. Mostly, I just try to catch whoever else is live. If there is anyone, it all depends. It's been like playing by ear.
Oh, I know how that is. I know how it is.
I've been wanting to do more like nightly streams. Just it's a matter of just being tired when I get home from work. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, and then by the time I get home, it's like, yeah, fuck that. I'm gonna either play a video game or just go to bed, and then usually it's just go to bed.
So I always try to ask, just to dox people, what time zone are you in? No, are you
Central,
in
the best time zone, the only time
okay,
zone,
the central zone? Yes,
the true time zone. Yeah.
right. Gotcha. So that's probably about 2 hours ahead of me. 2 hours? Yeah, it's
And
2 hours
from the
ahead.
future.
Yeah.
Yes, something like that, or the past. Fuck, I forget how that goes.
Yeah, no, I'm living in the past. You're living in the future. Congratulations on your drip.
Oh wait,
Jude.
wait. It's 11:30 right now. What time is it for you?
9:35.
Okay, yeah, I'm living in the future. Would you like your lotto numbers?
Yeah.
How cool would that be, right? Like shit. They gave the fucking lotto numbers out over here early. That would be fucked, dude. Some people like, what if that's like Monopoly rules, and that's actually how people win the fucking lottery? Because they mentioned it on the
Yeah.
East Coast before, or in like China or something. You can find out in China because they already have it, a day ahead, so they already pre-scriptedly know if everything's on a script. That goes into weird conspiracy theories, so I don't want to press into that. That sounds silly, anyway. But yeah,
Wait,
you have
yeah, if
yourself a
they
good
had
night, I
prayed
guess.
sufficiently, God would have known the winning numbers to begin with. I mean,
That is true. But hasn't that been happened before to someone or something? I pray to Jesus. Like I'm pretty sure that's happened before on the lottery
yeah.
somewhere.
Or Publishers Clearinghouse or something. I don't know.
Your Publishers Clearinghouse. I send in 50,000 ones. I'm like, Lord, please, all these ones, let it work. I remember Publisher. I've always wanted that to happen. Some fucking dude came with a big old check. Congratulations. That'd be fun. Right?
Yes. We should watch those videos sometime. They have some on YouTube. They're good fun.
Have you ever seen the ones where it's like they're doing it before they actually do the rent commercial, and they run how to do it, like how they want them to come through the house and through the door?
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are fun to watch. But like, yeah, we want you to come through and say, oh, make sure you're super happy. This has been like, or either I'm thinking because it's been a while, either I'm thinking of a mock skit or that actually happened, like a blooper reel or something like that. I can't recall, but yeah.
All right. I gotta pull the wrap on this one.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Have
But
a good one.
no, thank you for coming by, Tog, and I want to thank the audience, Pop Culture Curator, Lemon Pie, Gorillas, Random Thoughts, Jesus is Lord, Rebuke and Reprove, Reproof. Yes, no, I said that correctly. Jeebus, and they vacate. And I say, be kind, be trusty, and be well. Yes, and have a great night. Because I always say the same thing at the end of every stream. And I'm just going to play this song because that's what I do. I do whatever I want.
Turn